And the Indiana Hoosiers all smiles walking into the game against Idaho as they took down Illinois last week, looking to keep the momentum going at home. Some rain in the area before kickoff. A weather delay, dumping buckets, but this is Big Ten football. The students will not be denied tonight, piling in for a Big Ten kickoff on prime time. Tom Allen jacked up for kickoff. Football on the Big Ten Network is brought to you by Hampton by Hilton. Rain coming down stronger than it has all night, but the students still out in full force as the Indiana Hoosiers get set to take on the Vandals of Idaho. Hi everyone, Matt Schumacher, Jay Lehman with you. This is an Indiana team that is revamped, refreshed, playing with a sense of urgency that, frankly, Jay, we saw come to fruition last weekend against Illinois.
Yeah, a big win in their home opener, their season opener, and most importantly, their Big Ten opener. It was the first time 35 players for the Hoosiers had ever suited up for the Crimson and Cream, including transfers and freshmen. It was a great way to start the season of 2022 on the right foot.
One of those transfers who made a huge impact, Connor Bazelak at quarterback, leading this team with a game-winning drive.
Yeah, he's a big quarterback with a big arm, gets the ball out quick. Not really mobile, but he's got weapons all over on the outside. Most notably, DJ Matthews and Cam Camper. When they needed a play against Illinois, they got it through those two guys. 330 yards, a touchdown on INT, and led them to a game-winning score late in that game.
Defensively, this team has a blend of new and old, but you feel like the man calling the plays this year has this defensive unit looking like the one we saw in 2020 that led the Big Ten in takeaways and sacks.
Yeah, and that man is Tom Allen. Tom Allen is the is not the defensive corner, he's the head coach, but he's now calling the defense like he did the first 2 or 3 years he was here at Indiana, and we saw a lot of hallmarks of a Tom Allen defense, which was scheming up blitzes and exotic looks to create confusion and turnovers. 4 turnovers against the Illini, and a huge 4th down stop on the goal line that set up the go-ahead game-winning drive.
For Idaho, this is a team last year that lost on this field 56-14. But Jay, they have new coaches, new players, and a new culture. It's a far different group than we saw last year.
And they're explosive. They competed against Washington State last week, and they have a lot of transfers that made plays all over the field, specifically at the receiver position, at the quarterback position, and the defense created enough turnovers with a scoop and score early in that game to keep them in the football game all the way to the last minute. In fact, it came down to this play to tie the game against Washington State, and the Cougs in Pullman got away with a win against the Vandals.
And this is a Washington State team that earlier today went to Madison, Wisconsin, and took down a top 25 Badgers team on the road. Let's send it down to the third member of our team, Shane Sparks, who's trying to stay dry on the sideline.
Oh, a little bit of rain never hurt anybody. You talked about Connor Bazelak. He was sensational last week in that win against Illinois. Threw it for 330 yards. That's the most of an Indiana debut since Antoine Randall back in 1998. They didn't run the ball exceptionally well, but talking with Walt Bell, their offensive coordinator, he said the identity of this offense is space, pace, and race. It's a very high-tempo offense. They like to snap the ball every 12 or 13 seconds. On the other side of the ball for the Hoosiers, they want to stop the run. The focus and the keys to victory all week long have been dominate that line of scrimmage, lock down the receivers, and smother and smoke that quarterback. Idaho, pretty good story. Tough loss against Washington State, but make no mistake about it. They are not here to keep it close. They aren't here to keep it respectable. They are here to win. We talked with first-year head coach Jason Eck. He said, fortune favors the bold. They're an underdog. Take some chances, be aggressive, expect them to be active on 4th down. They'll throw everything in the kitchen sink here at the Hoosiers in Bloomington tonight. Matt?
Thank you, Shane. As you saw, probably coming up at the top of our broadcast, it's a bit wet here tonight, Jay, as we take a look at the weather. Don't forget to download the Fox Weather app today. 72, 87% humidity, really no wind to speak of, and very, very wet down on the field.
At least it's not cold, though, right? That's the key.
Tom Allen in his 6th season as the Hoosiers head coach. Of course, as you mentioned, now calling the plays on this defense. Jay, he told us there is something special about this Indiana team.
It's a team that experienced a lot of success in 2020, then had a lot of heartbreak in 2021 with injuries and unmet expectations. He's got a very veteran defense on this team too, and that came through him last week. 7
upperclassmen in the secondary alone for Tom Allen. And then on the other side, Jason Eck in his 1st season comes over from a terrific FCS program at South Dakota State, helped lead them to the national final last year at the FCS level, brings in new coaches, new players, transfers from Power Fives. This is a team that believes, especially after what they did at Washington State last weekend. Idaho won the toss, deferred to the second half. Indiana will receive as the fans continue to pile in after a wet, rainy afternoon here in Bloomington. Cooper back deep to receive. Logan Prescott with the kickoff, and we are underway from Indiana. And the first kick of the night is out of bounds. Perhaps the first sign of some weather in the area.
On the kicking team, the ball will be placed at the 35-yard line. First down.
Mark Kluczynski, our referee. And there is the first-year Missouri transfer, Connor Bazelak, who threw for over 300 yards last weekend at Illinois and led Indiana on that game-winning drive.
Yeah, he was impressive in the opener. You look at his numbers with Missouri last season, completed 65% of his balls, 231 a game, and his TD interception ratio was a little bit of an issue last year. Took care of the football other than one errant throw last week against Illinois.
Before they can snap it, a penalty. Indiana was super solid in terms of penalties last weekend.
Before the ball was snapped, false start. Offense number 73, 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
Last weekend against Illinois, at least offensively, Jay, they had one pre-snap penalty.
Yeah, you'll see just a twitch right there. That was the key right there. Tim Weaver, the right guard.
First play of the game goes to Sean Shivers, wiggling his way past the 40, and the Auburn transfer picks up a big chunk on 1st and 15. Here are tonight's impact players, brought to you by Auto Owners Insurance.
And we got Cam Camper and DJ Matthews, big games last week against the Illini. And then Favai for the Vandals, probably their best overall defensive player at the linebacker position.
One of their Power 5 transfers, 2nd year out of Washington State. 3rd and 5. Bazelak surveying, flushed out of the pocket, and has to let it go. A good defensive stand on the opening series by the Vandals.
Well, Bazelak had Matthews open on the option route at the sticks, decided to pull away from it, looked the opposite side, and finally the pressure got to him. He said, I'm going to throw it away and live to fight another day. Impressive stop by the Vandals. Good run by Shivers, but it was the penalty on first down that set him back.
This is an Idaho team that led in Pullman last weekend against the Cougars 10-0 to start the ball game. And now James Evans, the New Zealander, on to punt it away for Indiana. It's a good one inside the 10. It'll be fielded. He is brought down. Jermaine Jackson brought down inside the 10. That was Christian Harris with the special teams play.
Tell you what, we want to talk about covering punts. First of all, it's a tremendous punt inside the 6-yard line, inside the 7-yard line, but then Harris able to get a beat on, takes a shot on the player and makes the tackle in space to set back the Vandals on their first drive.
And the Vandals led by a very young quarterback. He made just his second start of his collegiate career last week. Giovanni McCoy. They like what he can do and how he progressed through the fall.
Well, they didn't think he was actually going to win the job, right? They brought in some transfers, even a transfer from South Dakota State who knew the system. But McCoy was the guy who just kept performing in the spring, earned the starting nod against Washington State, and played solid enough to keep it the second week.
And a handoff to start the first offensive series. Tackle made by Bo Robbins.
How about Bo Robbins coming off the edge? Bo Robbins had a big sack last week against Illinois that really sealed the deal. They had scored a touchdown. They were doing a 2-minute drill. They were up by 1. Illinois trying to get back within a field goal, and Bo Robbins basically slammed the door shut, beat the tackle off the edge. This guy that's been here, played some football here, now making some great plays.
Played more than anticipated, too, due to the injury to James Head. Made the most of his opportunity. On second down, another carry. And a big gain on second down across the sticks, but a flag behind the play as the freshman Anthony Woods was on the carry.
Illegal formation. Offense number 88 was lined up off the line of scrimmage. Will penalize half the distance to the goal. Repeat second down.
That was the Sept puffer.
And it's hard to tell there where they're saying he's not lined up on the line of scrimmage there. Jason Eck looks on.
So a procedural penalty offensively for both teams in the opening drive.
He wasn't lined up correctly. It's hard to tell on that replay why he wasn't lined up correctly.
2nd and 12. Handoff again, and that time brought down right at the line of scrimmage by Mr. Aaron Casey.
Casey, what a tackle in space. That's not easy duty. He attacked downhill, able to make the play.
Impact players on the defensive side for Indiana, brought to you by Auto Owners Insurance.
Jermaine Jackson is a player on the edge that made some big plays, especially on 4th down against Washington State last week. Cam Jones, not only the emotional leader, but the production leader, makes plays all over the field. You'll see him in all kinds of different spots in this front seven. And then the All-Big Ten corner from 2020, Tywan Mullen, the guy who's played a lot of football here and a leader as well.
One of 7 upperclassmen in the defensive secondary for Indiana. 3rd and 11, and the handoff goes to Roshan Johnson, and he is brought down just beyond the line of scrimmage. And that brings up 4th down in a tricky situation here for Idaho.
Well, first is always get the snap off, get the punt off, especially in weather like this. It's difficult, right? It's difficult to do these simple things that you do every day. You can't take it for granted. Now, he can be at this normal depth right here. You have to be at the 4-yard or closer, the 5-yard or closer to have a shorter punt snap, but he's at his full depth here.
Ricardo Chavez back to punt. And won't even get to DJ Matthews down inside the 40, so Indiana will have very good field position for their second drive of the game. And the Indiana defense coming up big on Idaho's first drive. Hoosiers will have it when we come back. Here is tonight's Champions Mindset, presented by Hamilton by Hilton.
Idaho, they got to create turnovers. Last week, 3 turnovers against Washington State, especially early, kept them in the game, gave them a 10-0 lead. Got to do the same against Indiana. For Indiana, it's all about explosive plays. 2 big pass plays last week against Illinois, and that's what kept them in the game and ultimately won them the game.
They're going to hand it off first, and it's Shivers, maybe a gain of 1 on 1st down.
Favai, the linebacker we talked about, was 2 on 2, number 2 in the crimson and cream, and then the yellow on white. A little battle. We'll give it to Favai on that battle.
Baseline over the middle and almost intercepted by Marcus Harris, and he's a guy in this secondary they feel like could potentially play at the next level.
Yeah, I'm talking about Baseline though, just late on that throw. He had him beat. beat him on the post route, had them all turned around. Bazelak threw it behind and late. Uncharacteristic. That's a play that they really blew up against Illinois last week for some big gains. 3rd down.
You wonder how much the rain is affecting the passing game. Still coming down a little bit here, more like a mist in the first quarter. And they go to the ground again. Shivers picking and popping his way through the defense and gets close to the first down. What does Indiana do here?
Well, you might ask yourself, why would he run on 3rd and 8? It's because he knew that he had 2 downs to get it. So they run to put it manageable. I think they give it to Shivers again.
4th and 2. It is Shivers, and he's got a first down and more all the way to the 20.
Shivers already has more yards right now almost than he had last week against that Illinois front who was stacking the box. More favorable boxes right now. Miscommunication right there. Supposed to be a back shoulder fade right there to Camper. He instead ran the post. Have not been sharp in the passing game thus far.
Shivers does, in fact, already have more yards tonight than he did last week against Illinois. It was an Illini defense that stacked the box all night long. Shivers already with 31 yards tonight on 5 carries. Bazelak over the middle. It's DJ Matthews, and he's taken down inside the 10.
So you saw a late flag come out there with crossing routes. Sometimes that can be an illegal pick. And so I wonder if that's the call. Pass interference on Indiana for a pick play.
Offense number 10. 5-yard penalty. Repeats 2nd down.
So no, that's interesting. So Anderson Kobe must have been covered up, all right? That means that he was not the end man on the line of scrimmage because he's usually an eligible receiver, but it means that someone outside of him was on the line of scrimmage, so then he was ineligible. That would have been a first down. Now we got 2nd and 14, 15.
From the 25. Bazelak with lots of time, and it goes through the hands of Kobe and out of bounds.
All kinds of time, not the start they wanted for their passing game, right? Here they're right back at it again, trying to go fast.
3 to the left side. Bazelak going wide to the field. And it is caught by Cam Camper, his first grab of the night. It brings up another 4th down. Remember, Indiana has already kept the drive alive once tonight on 4th down. It looks like the kicking team coming out for Tom Allen.
That's a win if you're Idaho, right? You get the ball, it's on the 38-yard line coming in for Indiana. They're able to get just enough stops, a couple penalties to slow down the Hoosiers and make them try a field goal.
Campbell hit a couple of 43-yarders against Illinois last week. He was perfect 3 for 3. This one from 32. And he missed it wide right. An even bigger win for the Vandals on defense.
Well, you're on the road. You want to stay in the game as long as you can. Tom Allen can't be happy, but the Vandals are happy. It's 0-0 and 9 minutes and change in the first.
Here's the Built for Success, brought to you by Rocket Mortgage. How about that, young buck? Jason Eck in his Wisconsin days. He was part of the team in the late 90s that won the Big Ten championship and went on to the Rose Bowl.
What a great decade for Wisconsin in the 90s. Jason Eck was part of it. You can see him right here, sitting in the team photo with Barry Alvarez. He's done he's a GA at Wisconsin for years. He said he spent 6 or 7 years there at Wisconsin as a player and a coach. That's carried on his identity as a football coach. Now his first time to be a head football coach of this FCS program in Idaho.
Second offensive drive of the game for Giovanni McCoy and company. And he's looking deep down the field. And it's just out of the reach of the freshman Jordan Dwyer.
Jason Eck knows they're going to need a couple chunk plays, right? So let's take a shot on first down. Let's test those corners. Let's see if we can actually make a big play, get into Indiana territory, get something rolling.
This is a tough team to test the corners against.
Just a bit. Tywan Mullen.
There's on the other side, yeah, Jalen Williams. That might be the best cornerback tandem in the Big Ten.
Very good, very experienced. All Big Ten, both of them in 2012.
Second down and 10, and it's a handoff, and the Indiana defense is all over it. Strung out, maybe a gain of 1. And guess who? Cam Jones in on the play.
You'll see that with Indiana's defense, their ability to string the ball out. And we saw this against Illinois. Chase Brown, the Illinois running back, would run to the sideline, keep looking for that hole, keep looking for that hole. And at the end of the run, it's like a 1-yard gain, just keep stringing out. You get the offense to run east and west, not north and south. And that's really the key of Tom Allen's defense, to make everything go to the sideline and make a play.
Third down and 9 from the Idaho 21.
You got to watch out for number 1, Jermaine Jackson, second from the top of your screen. They love him on third down.
And a pre-snap penalty comes in.
Offense number 78, 5-yard penalty. Remains third down.
Watch big Bo St. John right here jump a bit. Tevis on the other side jumped in response to him jumping.
Those are tough ones to have on the road at a Big Ten school. Good crowd on hand tonight at Memorial Stadium in spite of the delay and all the weather in the area. And now 3rd and 14.
First empty set we've seen all night. You got to wonder if Tom Allen's going to bring pressure. Doesn't look like he's going to bring pressure, but you got to protect an empty.
Quick swing out to the left side. Indiana in pursuit. Bo Robbins was there, as was J.H. Tevis.
Tunnel screen, good, safe play, but the play was made by Tevis and his hustle. Watch J.H. Tevis here, 47. You see how he feels the screen, and then if he doesn't make that play, that's a first down. Great effort by Tevis. Tevis made a huge play against Illinois on 4th down at that goal line stand, playing at a very high level early in the season for that Hoosier D-line.
Tevis, one of 7 first-year transfers on Tom Allen's defense. He came over from Cal. Short punt, and it bounces out of bounds before it even crosses the midway point. And so yet again tonight, Indiana will have great field position when we come back from Memorial Stadium. Football on the Big Ten Network is presented by Hampton by Hilton. For the biggest Indiana experience, there's no plus like home. The Big Ten Plus app, powered by the Big Ten Network. Your favorite Hoosiers content streaming and on demand, plus the iconic games and exclusive events only on the Big Ten Plus app. Download and subscribe today. Third drive of the game for Indiana's offense. And it is a handoff to Josh Henderson, bouncing it out to the right side and rumbling ahead for about 5 on first down. Connor Baselak still just 1 for 5 in his game with 11 yards passing. So pull it back to pass here, and it's out of the reach of Cam Camper.
Just off on the timing right there. Just a basic 7-yard hitch route to get the first down, and just an errant throw by Baselak, not accurate.
Third down and 4. Baselak over the middle and a wide open catch. I believe that was Donovan McCulley.
Really like that route combination. They used Barner and McCulley to cross, created confusion, and that's what led to McCulley being open.
Check that, it was Emery Simmons, the transfer from UNC. Baselak got a man over the middle, close to a first down, and it's Henderson again lowering the shoulder.
Henderson showing some toughness as well, getting some reps here, spotting Shivers.
Now the passing game getting some rhythm here on the third drive of the game for Indiana. Baselak over the middle. He was looking for A.J. Barner, just a little too much behind it.
Great fake right there. Barner on a delay and then released late. Just didn't get his head around in time. And they're letting Cam Camper into the boundary, have a one-on-one matchup. I think that's a mismatch if you can expose that. And see Camper at the top of your screen right here.
Baseline rolling out to his left. And it is Barner dragged down at about the 10.
Barner's a guy, was a late bloomer, but man, they are high on this kid. Good looking tight end for this program.
On third down, Bazelak going to the right side. He was looking for Camper, and it's knocked away by Marcus Harris.
When Marcus Harris read that from a mile away, and not only did he read it, the telegraphing by Bazelak, everybody in the stadium knew where that was going. Watch him jump this slant route. You see how he jumps it and gets in front with the right arm and the long arm rake? Just times it perfectly. And again, just a bit out of sync between Bazelak and Camper, something we didn't see much of last week.
Camper went for 156 yards, the most ever by a wide receiver in an Indiana debut. And now Campbell out to kick it. He was 0 for 1 to start the game. And this one misses. Wide left. And it's still zeros on the scoreboard for Indiana.
And a late flag came out. It looked to be after the play. I'm not sure. We have a discussion here.
Holding. Defense, number 90. Will penalize half the distance to the goal. Automatic first down.
Wow.
And you can see Jason Eck very disappointed here. You do not see defensive holding much called at all on the defensive line, but especially on a kick, on a field goal, on maybe a point after a field goal. And I think this is the call where he's wondering, well, what happened? Well, that gives him a fresh set of downs. It's going to be first and goal from the 5.
This is an Indiana team that has struggled to get rhythm going. Now you give them a second chance inside the far 5-yard line.
Called on
Shivers
Malachi
in the
Williams.
backfield. And it's a lob throw into the end zone and tipped away. That was Warrior Noyle on the pass breakup.
Just that fade route. Watch Noyle go up, climb the ladder, gets his head around and gets a paw on there. I think they got to go back to Shivers here. He's been the most consistent offensive weapon. They've got 2 tight ends in, Barner and Bamba.
Shivers 5 carries for 31 yards tonight. And they do go to him. Shivers pushing ahead at the 3-yard line, and he stopped.
There was a hole, but filled nicely by the Vandal safety, Matthias Bertram, a guy who was a walk-on, was awarded a scholarship here in fall camp. His brother Ben plays on the D-line. Big third down. Expect some more Shivers.
From the 2. It is Shivers darting into the middle. No sign yet from any of the referees. And they are stopped short. Another 4th down for the Indiana offense.
Idaho has made them work for everything, and they're going to go for it.
Bazelak gives it off to Shivers, and he is stopped short. A big-time goal line stand by the Idaho Vandals.
Look like Paul Moala, the Notre Dame transfer. An Indiana kid on a Mishawaka, Indiana. Watch him come off the edge here. He just beat Camper inside. Camper not able to make the block at the point of attack. Sticks Shivers. A loss for 1, and it's going the other way. Vandals football.
So a goal line stand by the Vandals defense gives it right back to Idaho. And they will have to start inside their own 5-yard line with the redshirt freshman quarterback Giovanni McCoy. It's a handoff on first down, and Indiana right there to stop it at about the 5. An extra push at the end to give a little bit of breathing room for this Idaho team.
So we had an interesting call. We saw a defensive holding on that field goal on number 90. We'll circle him right here, Malachi Williams. Now watch what he does. I can't see the deep. You cannot hold and pull an offensive lineman but it doesn't look like he really pulls him that much to me if that was the call. He said it was defensive holding on Williams. But that led to a fresh set of downs, which with 4 downs from the 5-yard line, mostly carries to Shivers, were not able to get in.
Second down, and a handoff. It's ripped to the ground by Indiana's Ladarius Cox, in on the tackle. 2 missed field goals for Indiana. They were 3 for 3 against Illinois last week. Much better in the red zone than they have been tonight.
And they were within striking distance. They're all within the 40. Big stop. And you let a team like Idaho hang around long enough, they start to believe we can win this football game. And the more they believe that, the better they play.
3rd and 3 from the 9. McCoy back to pass, flushed out of the pocket. Now he's looking for running room, and McCoy's got a first down and more.
Interesting about McCoy, he scrambles to pass first. You can see here he gets flushed out by Bryant. Bryant flushed him out, loses contain, gets a block on the edge from his receiver, and able to scamper for the first down and get some breathing room where they can run their offense.
A 6-yard run for McCoy, who won a 4-quarterback competition in the fall. This was an Idaho offense that in the spring game had 18 offensive possessions and scored just 1 time. They are remarkably better in just 6 short months under the new head coach Jason Eck. McCoy going deep down the field again, and he's got Jermaine Jackson. A big pickup on first down, and Idaho, Indiana territory.
Well, that was our Auto Owners Insurance impact player. Watch Jackson working on Jalen Williams and just runs right by him, right? Post route. Leads him perfectly, maybe a little bit too far because he has to stretch out maybe a step. Before that, it would have been still running for 6, but a huge play for the Vandals, the biggest play of the night overall for either team.
A 50-yard pass reception by Jermaine Jackson. First time inside Indiana's 40 tonight for Idaho. McCoy going to the air again. And he's brought down, nearly hauled in by Roschon Johnson. Good job by McCoy to escape the pressure.
Cam Jones finally forced the issue. 4-on-4.
If you're looking for the Michigan-Hawaii game, go to btn.com/gamefinder right now to see where you can find the game in your area. One of 8 games on the Big Ten Network today. A huge day across the conference. Indiana getting all they can handle here in the first quarter against Idaho, a team that they led 21-0 last season after the first quarter. On 2nd and 10, a shuffle pass and a leaping play by Roschon Johnson across the 30.
I like Roschon Johnson. That takes a lot of guts to do that. Taiwan Mullen's bearing down on you. It's just a sweep to the boundary. Excuse me, not Mullen, rather it was Devon Monster Matthews came through. Physical run, Roschon. You would probably expect they got 2 downs here, Matt, to go for it. It'd be a long field goal, and in this weather, the rain's kind of picked up again. It might be difficult. It's a 47-yarder right now.
They were 6 for 13 on 4th down conversions at Washington State last weekend. 3 seconds on the clock. McCoy finds a man across the 30 and more, and it's a first down, and a late flag comes in after the play.
There's a flag on the play.
Michael Graves with the catch.
They knew Indiana being man-to-man. They ran the crossers and the pick route. That's what got them open.
There's no foul on the play for a blindside block. The block in question was legal.
What a drive for Jason Eck's offense. First 2 drives, 6 plays, 7 yards. This drive, 7 plays, 74 yards.
Jason Eck dialed up watch the cross, see the pick route right there with the umpire in the middle of the field and the tight end picks for the receiver and allows him to get open and get that first down. Good play design. Jason Eck knew Tom Allen was going to be a man-to-man. Great call.
Fresh set of downs from the 20. And the flag comes in. It'll be a false start.
Offense number 12, 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
That goes against Connor Whitney, who's getting more playing time tonight for Idaho due to the injury to Alex Moore. And look, this is an Idaho team that's banged up after their first weekend. They're down their stud tight end Alex Moore. They are down Hayden Hatton, who had both touchdowns last year against Indiana. And yet here they are driving at the end of the first quarter.
This is an FCS team that plays 2 Power 5 teams to start the season. We have Power 5 teams that don't play 2 Power 5 teams to start the season.
1st and 15. McCoy looking into the end zone, and he's out of the reach of Whitney, and Brian Fitzgerald was in the area as well. Let's go down to Shane.
You mentioned Hayden Hatton. He was injured in practice this past Wednesday. He did not make the trip. He had 6 receptions last week against Washington State. He's one of the favorite targets, and as you said, 2 touchdowns in this game a year ago. That's a big loss for him.
But it gives an opportunity for others to step up. A team with a lot of new faces on offense, including Giovanni McCoy at quarterback. They love his poise for Idaho. McCoy flush to his right. Has to scamper out of bounds to avoid the sack. Brings up a 3rd and long for the Vandals.
McCoy looks to throw when he scrambles. It's been a couple times his protection is broken down. We've seen Bo Robbins, Bryant get pressure. McCoy lives to fight another day.
How about this? No score after the first quarter. The Vandals get 2 missed field goals from Indiana. They are in it on the road against a Big Ten team.
Searching for meaning in a relentless world.
McCoy gives it off. It is Roschon Johnson breaking away, and Johnson across the 15, very close to the first down marker.
Tom Allen dialed up the perfect blitz to stop this. You'll see Noah Pierre come in right there and miss the tackle. 21 just had a chance to make the play on Roschon and cannot get it done.
And that was actually the freshman Anthony Woods. One of his first carries tonight. Went into the Washington State game as the 3rd string running back. Ended up having 50 yards in that game.
Got some serious wiggle to him. Coaches said we'll see more of him.
4th down and 2. McCoy feeling the pressure. He's got a first down, and his receiver brought down at the 1-yard line. Big pickup on 4th down.
So watch, they bring Cam Jones right into the face of McCoy, and he throws right to the teeth of the blitz and is able to do it. Look at that play though. Up and over time the snap count. I believe that was either Cam Jones or Casey. Somebody with a 4 was tackling number 4 and made a tremendous play on that QB sneak.
First 2 drives of the game. Idaho had 6 plays for 7 yards. And on this drive, 11 plays for over 70 yards.
And it was Cam Jones going over the top for a big tackle on the court.
We saw the Vandals defense come up with a goal line stand earlier in the game. Can Indiana return the favor? It's a sweep to the right side, and Dwyer twists into the end zone for a touchdown. Idaho on the board first, and the Vandals lead Indiana 6-0.
Jason Eck saw this play. Illinois ran a jet sweep against the Hoosiers at about the 3-yard line for a touchdown. They saw that Illinois scored on it. They put it in the game plan for the red zone package. They put it in, they execute it, get a touchdown, and they're up 6-0.
13 plays, 98 yards, Jay. That drive started on their own 2-yard line, and it took 6 minutes and 25 seconds off the clock.
With the big chunk play from our man Jermaine Jackson.
And the extra point is up and through. A 7-0 lead for Idaho, a team that lost to Indiana a year ago, 56-14. It's a different Vandals group on the road in Bloomington tonight.
Here's what you expect from your wireless plan. But at T-Mobile, this is what you get. And so much more. Like a free Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 4 and Netflix on us. With T-Mobile, get benefits that add up to more than $225 in value each month. Switch now and get a free Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 4 and even more. Only at T-Mobile.
Some banks give you credit card rewards, but make you jump through hoops to use them. With Discover, you can redeem your rewards for cash in any amount, anytime.
Save yourself. Money with Farmers?
That's not wrong. When you bundle your home and auto policies with Farmers, you save yourself up to 20%.
That's something.
Get a whole lot of something with Farmers. Kind of creepy.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Jimmy's John's new Pickup 20 deal. Save 20%. How are folks going to pick up their order if they can't pick it up?
What you doing there, fellas?
Fixing a flat tire.
Jimmy John's, save 20% on pickup orders when you order online.
Hey, you. Yeah, you. This is all about you. Maybe you're looking for something more. Something real.
A place outside of textbooks.
To find something new. Like, who needs a mascot new? Candy-striped, horizon-breaking, mentor-finding, world-changing new. Wait, what even is a Hoosier? Why don't you show us?
The freshman Jordan Dwyer taking it into the end zone to give Idaho a 7-0 lead on the road. 13 plays, 98 yards. It was a drive that started on Idaho's own 2-yard line. And they lead a team that was leading them last year after the first quarter by a count of 21-0. And Jay, you leave a team like this in a ball game. As the game wears along, what does that do for Idaho's confidence?
Belief, belief, belief. The more they believe, the more they can achieve.
Free kick out of bounds. Kicking team, by rule, the ball is placed at the 35-yard line. First down.
One thing it doesn't do, though, it doesn't help your kicker kick the ball in bounds. Because we had the same issue starting off the game and now starting off this second quarter after the drive. He's got to get his head in the right place, and he knows it.
All right, so Indiana scoreless on their first 4 possessions of the game. Connor Bazelak 4 of 12. Sean Shivers very effective in the beginning of the first half. He had 5 carries for 31 yards. They haven't gone to him much since. This time it's Josh Henderson, and he twists forward for about 5 or 6.
And you got to wonder how much the rain is playing in to the passing game of Indiana not being what we saw last week as far as timing and catching the football.
It's Henderson again, and he barrels his way ahead for a first down, and the ball comes out. Idaho is on top of it, but the officials are saying that Henderson's knee was down first. Let's see what the
Rolling
call
on the
is.
field as the runner was down before the ball came out. First down, Indiana.
A great second effort from Josh Henderson.
I think they're going to take a second look at
The
this.
ruling on the previous play of the runner being down is under further review.
Let's watch Henderson here. Tackle, gets off one.
Ooh, I don't know.
From that angle, it's hard to tell when the ball comes out. Maybe this one will show more. Wow, it looks like the ball's out, but you can't see when his bottom actually hits the turf. And so if you can't see when it hits the turf, let's watch this.
Hard to tell on that angle if the ball is out or not.
It's hard to tell. We'll see. The ball is out right. Okay. Boy, I don't know if they have an angle they could overturn this or not. I just don't see it. Maybe this shot. Well, that's probably the best shot we're going to get, and it's bang, bang, and really, really close here. So if we slow it down, some great camera. Boy, that looks so close. Henderson, the ball is coming out here as we see the defender come in. It looks to me like the ball comes out a split second before the bottom hits, but I'm not sure it's enough to overturn the call on the field, which was that he was down.
This is an Idaho team that has been ball hawking to start the season. They forced 3 fumbles against Washington State last weekend, and now potentially a fumble forced and a fumble recovered here early in the second quarter.
They're taking their time. This is not an easy review.
That's a big one too for Indiana. This is an offense that just hasn't been able to get going. Let's bring in Dean Blandino. Dean, what are you seeing on this one?
Yeah, so the key is, did the ball come out before his backside hit the ground? Now in the replay booth, they can actually piece angles together. They're all in sync. And if one angle shows the football and another angle shows the backside, they can look at them side by side. That's our best look, just one angle. And it does appear that the ball is out just prior to the backside hitting the ground. It's close, but it does appear that it was out.
The ball did come out before the runner was down. There was a clear recovery by Idaho. It will be 1st and 10 for Idaho at the 45-yard line.
Well, you're right, Dean, and a huge stop again for an Idaho defense that has now had a goal line stop for Indiana. They have forced 2 missed field goals, and now a forced fumble recovered.
And hats off to the review officials up here at making that call. That was very close, but I think they got the right call right there for all the angles that we saw. And Dean agreed. I agreed that that ball was out right before the backside of Henderson hit the turf. And now you're at the 45 going in. You're like, do you take a shot to Jermaine Jackson down the field right now and try to get some more points on the board?
He already has 1 catch for 50 yards that set up a 98-yard touchdown drive earlier in the quarter.
And they really like it when he is the number 2 receiver in the slot, but they've got a safety directly over him right now. Be tough to make him actually open in this route.
Handoff goes to the right side. Anthony Woods ripped down after a gain of about 1.5.
One thing we haven't seen is Giovanni McCoy actually pull the football on his own rig. We're going to see that at a big time during this game. You always have to know, if you've got a mobile quarterback in the zone read, you've got to be disciplined on the backside as your backside linebacker and defensive end, because McCoy's going to do that.
Giovanni McCoy 5 for 8, 80 yards and a touchdown in this game. And the Vandals also have 40 yards on the ground, including a couple of scampers by McCoy for 13 yards. He's back to pass on 2nd and 9. And McCoy going deep down the field again, and it's hauled in. And the officials waving it off. They are saying it's incomplete on a pass attempt to Trevez Traynor.
You saw the hat of the official come off. That means that the receiver went out of bounds. Now, did he go out of bounds on his own accord? You see the hat off right there, or was he pushed out of bounds is the question. Kind of a new point because he didn't catch the ball inbounds. But right there, you see how he gets pushed out of bounds and he needs to come back and establish himself inbounds before he catches the football. He did not do that. Therefore, it was incomplete.
3rd and 9 from the 46. McCoy steps up. He's going to take off. McCoy across the 40, and he slides down at about the 38-yard line.
What's the Achilles heel of man coverage? A mobile quarterback. Everybody's looking at their man because their man, watch Cam Jones. He's watching his man. You'll see him in coverage still. He doesn't even know that McCoy's taking off. And once they realize he's taking off, it's too late. It's a first down for the Vandals.
Giovanni McCoy was not even expected to be the starter going into fall camp. The coaches actually had to go look out from outside the program in the summer. They brought in a transfer, but McCoy got better in the summer and took the starting role with about 2 weeks left before the season, and he has been dazzling tonight on the road in Bloomington. And a big-time shot. That is Mr. Casey coming up with the shot at the line of scrimmage.
Well, kids at home, watch this form tackle right here. Square, brings the shoulder, leads with the hips and hands. That's how you hit if you're a Hoosier. Good, clean football right there from the linebacker.
Aaron Casey coming off the best game of his career against Illinois. 7 tackles, 1.5 for a loss. This is a young man who had 25 tackles all of last season.
Big tackle against Chase Brown as well. And that 4th down to the goal line. Almighty Casey making his case for the Hoosiers.
Pressure comes on 2nd and long, and McCoy is dropped in the backfield. First sack of the game, and it's Aaron Casey again for Indiana.
Look at the pressure here. Casey just goes right through that A-gap and too much power. They just bring one too many for him. McCoy confused on the back end with the coverage. But now you got to be careful, right? You're 3rd and 15. Stuff is going great for you for Idaho. Don't make a silly mistake. And I think that's where McCoy was last down. I could throw it away or I could take the sack. Ended up taking the sack and not throwing an errant throw.
2 big plays defensively on this drive by Aaron Casey. Idaho 3 for 6 on 3rd downs in the ball game. McCoy steps up and the ball is tipped and incomplete. And a big stand on 3rd down by Indiana's defense.
Indiana switched it up this drive. They went 2 high safeties, really combating that big play, and then brought pressure from all different angles, except on 3rd down. They dropped 8, rushed 3, brought a little confusion, worked against the Vandal offense.
Third punt of the day for Ricardo Chavez. DJ Matthews back to receive. Lets it go over his head and into the end zone for a touchback. Well, there have been a host of miscues, uncharacteristically for this Indiana team. A couple of missed field goals, a penalty on a missed field goal that lets Indiana get the ball back, a second chance inside the 5. They get stuffed. This Idaho team feeling more and more confident as the game goes along, Jay.
And the more confidence they have, the better they play. You can see Jason Eck was ecstatic after that fumble, and they're up 7-0.
Connor Bazelak, 4 of 12 in the game, 35 yards passing. He hands it off on 1st down, and Shivers ripped to the turf, a loss of 4. What would you like to see from this Indiana offense to get going a little bit here in the 2nd quarter?
First, great play by Leo Tomba right there to make a tackle for loss. But I want some short throws to your great playmakers. Camper, Matthews, get them in rhythm, get Camper some confidence.
There you go, a dump down to Shivers. And he gets almost back what he lost on 2nd down.
And now you're 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9, or 3rd and 11 rather. I mean, there's not a ton of plays that dial up great at 3rd and 11.
Particularly when the rain's still coming down.
And it is still coming down. Now, nobody's out on the number 2 receiver right there. Somebody's misaligned. They should throw the football right now. Second from the top of your screen. They didn't get it out in time.
Bazelak chased out of the pocket, has to heave it downfield, and it's out of bounds. And a 3-down stop. Indiana now 1 for 7 on 3rd downs.
Well, offensive coordinator Walt Bell cannot be happy with that. When you have a tempo offense and you have a 3 and out, it's like a double whammy because you don't ever get that first down to get your tempo going, to wear out that defense, to really see that run-pass combo that you want. Doesn't happen. 3 and out. They're getting the ball right back to the Vandals. They're going to have good field position based on this punt.
We have not really seen any extended drives in this game so far for Indiana. Jackson back to receive the punt. And he fields it at his own 30. Jackson up the sideline. Now he cuts across the 50. And about a 20-yard return on the punt by Jermaine Jackson.
Vandals are here to play. Jermaine Jackson, first rule of punt return, make the first man miss. Well, catch the ball, make the first man miss. Didn't get north and south. He did all of that, and Jackson has the two biggest plays offensively for this team. Had the big catch in the first quarter to set up the touchdown and a big punt return. And that man, Tom Allen, says, hey, we're all right. We got to handle it. And they got a good return on us. We got to play defense, play the Hoosier way. We're still in this. Let's go. We'll be back.
What's your favorite live event? A rockin' concert? An action-packed game? Whatever it is, enter for a chance to win tickets in the 5-hour Energy Live sweepstakes. For rules and how to enter, visit 5helive.com.
A lot of us when we were young had mentors that helped us to believe in ourselves, that we could achieve our dreams with hard work and sacrifice. The USTA Foundation, through education and tennis programs, are doing just that, with hundreds of thousands of under-resourced kids across the nation served. So let's join them to help. This Saturday and Sunday, Jersey Mike's will donate 20% of all sales to the USTA Foundation. Together, we always make a difference.
Football, beer, wings. Yes. Boneless wings on pizza. TVs, overtime, wings on pizza. Sauce, friends, wings on pizza. Wings, pizza, pizza, wings, wings, beer, and now pizza! B-Dubs is the only place for football.
My generation inherited complex problems, and I think that we're able to generate the complex tools to solve them. My name is Derek Whitley. I'm a Navy veteran and a dual doctoral student in complex systems and cognitive science. The world is facing huge problems in medicine, finance, and in climate. AI can solve those problems. If you could make a machine that could solve problems for you, then you're cooking with gas. I do have faith that artificial intelligence is going to help us solve these problems. It can find hugely complex patterns in enormous volumes of data, and it can distill it down into an essence that we can employ. I can generate machines that solve multiple problems. I'm hoping that as soon as the mainstream starts to see that computers have kind of hit a limit, that my work will be the next big thing.
Well, Tom Allen's defense has been pretty darn stout tonight against Idaho, save for that 98-yard touchdown drive. He's got to find a way to get his offense going, but defense has to get another stop here to make that happen, Jay.
Yeah, well, they've switched to two high safeties here, and that's to negate some of the bigger pass plays, but it makes the run lanes open more when you have two high safeties.
Idaho has doubled Indiana's time of possession. McCoy back to pass. The redshirt freshman flushed out of the pocket, and that is the 5th or 6th time in this half that he has used his legs to evade the pressure.
He's got some great speed on the edge. You know, Josh Sanguinetti looked like he had the angle. Watch Sanguinetti break it down here, and you think he's going to tackle him, but McCoy has enough speed to get to the edge and gain 6 yards.
29 yards rushing for the quarterback tonight. That was his 7th rushing attempt. He's been sacked once by Aaron Casey. McCoy with the handoff. And it's Roschon Johnson wiggling away from the Indiana defense. Made a couple of men miss and got across for the first down.
How about the vision? He stretches hard to his right, then cuts back on a dime, then goes upfield and gets north and south for the first down. Enough power to finish before Cam Jones finishes him off. Great vision right there by the young tailback, Roschon Johnson.
8-yard run, 1st and 10 from the Indiana 31. Seems like that 98-yard drive for a touchdown has given this Idaho team some rhythm offensively. McCoy slings it to Whitney, and he He's ahead for 4 on first down.
Passes to 12 for the Vandals. Whitney.
What's impressed you about Idaho so far in this game? How are they leading 7-0 here?
Just sticking in there, right? I mean, they have a lot of situations that didn't go their way early, but they get a couple missed field goals, get a 4th down stop, and I think their ability to have success on first down, even right there, get 4 yards. We saw McCoy get flushed out, right? Got 6 yards. Makes it manageable for them on their play sheet.
Cam Jones not in the game. Remember, he missed a few plays against Illinois with that ankle injury. Taped him up, and he finished the rest of the game. Hand off again, this time to Johnson, and he barrels ahead across the 25.
You know, I'm seeing a 2-high safety look, and that means that numbers are favorable to run the football for Johnson and Idaho, and we've seen them run more efficiently on this drive and get some good chunks of yardage. And a big cutback by Johnson a couple plays ago. There he picks up 3, and you got to expect, hey, this is probably 4-down territory. You're going to be brave and bold like the back of their helmet says, right? For the Idaho Vandals, as Jason X says, let's go. Old offensive line coaches, they love to run the football when they can.
Couple of runs already on this drive. 3rd down and 3. Johnson in the backfield again. And they give it to him again. And he is stopped just shy of the first down marker, and you fully expect a 4th down attempt here.
I do. I think with the weather being the way it is, and you know, we've seen a little bit of rain. The rain's kind of held off a little bit right now. It's 4th and 1. They've been running the ball effectively. You got to be aware of quarterback run on a time like this. Even though Johnson's been getting some tough yards, be aware of quarterback run when you're the Indiana offense. And they're going to roll up their safeties. They're in man-to-man coverage. They roll them all up. 0 high safeties here.
Here's McCoy under center. And a quick snap. Trick play, and it's intercepted. Taiwan Mullen, and he's got room to run down the near sideline. Mullen cuts across the 50. Taiwan Mullen with 1 man to beat, and he's pushed out of bounds inside the 25-yard line with a flag back behind the play.
So much stuff going on in this play. First off, McCoy tries to draw him off sides. Then he walks to the sideline, and they snap it directly to Johnson. Then Johnson throws the football up to the receiver, but they tackle the receiver. It's going to be pass interference on Indiana. This ball's going to come back, negate the turnover from Mullen, and the return is going to be 1st and 10 for Idaho.
Wow.
Pass interference. Defense number 31. The ball will be placed at the spot of the foul. Automatic 1st down.
Watch, he acts like he's going to the sideline. They're going to snap it to Johnson. This is a horrible throw by Johnson. It's like he's playing 500 with the Hoosiers. But see how they tackle him? Brian Fitzgerald runs into the tight end Whitney, and that's why they have to call the pass interference. It was going to be picked off anyway. He doesn't need to tackle him, but Fitzgerald panics. He tries to look back, tackles him. Mullen gets the pick, but it's negated because of the interference right there by Fitzgerald on Whitney. Tough call.
And it negates a 69-yard interception return by Taiwan Mullen and allows Idaho a fresh set of downs from inside the 7. 1st and goal from the 7-yard line, and Brian Fitzgerald can't believe it.
I mean, it was literally like we were in the backyard, Matt, and that was like a 500 ball from Johnson. I don't know if it was like worth 200 or 300. It was obviously worth a 1st down, right? We know that because there was a panic a little bit, and there's Chad Wilt, the defensive coordinator, just can't believe himself right now. That is a tough, that was a pick no matter what. They didn't need to tackle the receiver. And you'd expect Roschon Johnson's going to get a couple more carries here, but they don't have numbers to run the football right now.
2 receivers out to the right side. Fresh set of downs for Idaho. McCoy moving to his left, gets around the corner, and scampers out of bounds.
I think they're giving McCoy the option to check run or pass based on the box. Right there, the box was stacked in Indiana's favor, had man coverage on the outside, could not get Jermaine Jackson open who he wanted, so he flushed back to the other side before he was pushed out of bounds.
thing Jason Eck told us about his redshirt freshman quarterback. He doesn't get rattled. He's not going to wow you with speed or athleticism, but his poise is beyond his years. Second and goal inside the Indiana 10. McCoy dumps it down, and it's a touchdown for Idaho. Anthony Woods hauls it in. And there is a flag, though, on the far sideline.
Well, that was great play design by Jason Eck to get that running back open in space.
Illegal formation. Offense number 0 was lined up off the line of scrimmage. 5-yard penalty. Repeat, second down.
It was Therese Trainer with the infraction.
I think he's probably at the top of your screen, Trainer. And they're saying because of that, that negates the play. Nothing to do with the play, but you gotta have at least 7 men on the line of scrimmage, 5 linemen, 2 receivers. They didn't have it. And Jason Eck pulls him aside and says, listen, man, it's the little things. We're gonna be brave and bold. But we got to do the little things too. We got to line up right? This JFL stuff, junior football stuff, let's get it right. He'll learn from it.
5 penalties for 25 yards tonight for Idaho. Second and goal. McCoy ripped down. Deshaun McCullough, the freshman, with the play in the backfield.
You think they work on grip strength in Indiana? Maybe just a bit. Try grabbing a wet jersey of McCoy with one hand and saying, come here, son. Ragdolls him down. Wasn't pretty, but it was effective. And that was the key to get to McCoy in the backfield. And now you're 3rd and 17. And you just don't want to make a mistake here. And if you're Indiana, you get another sack, you could possibly push them out of field goal range. It was almost a guaranteed thing a couple plays ago.
Whitney in motion. Handoff to Johnson. And he skirts out across the 15. That brings up 4th down and goal from about the 13-yard line.
I think Jason Eck was thinking the same thing, right? Let's run the football. Let's make sure we get 3. Let's not take another sack. Indiana's been bringing pressure. Let's try to make this a 2-possession football game with about 2 minutes and 35 seconds to go in the first half.
Ricardo Chavez out for the field goal. Made a 27-yarder last week. This one from 29. And he splits the uprights. A 10-0 lead for Idaho, just like we saw last week in Pullman at Washington State. Jason Eck's club pulling off a shocker so far in Bloomington. That look from Jamari Monette says it all right now. His Hoosiers down 10-0 with 2 minutes and change left in the first half here in Bloomington. Coming up, stick around for the Reese's Peanut Butter Cups halftime report. Dave Repson, Jerry DiNardo, and Howard Griffith break down the first half. Get set to kick it off. Indiana's offense desperate to get something going here to close out the first half in Bloomington. Jalen Lucas on the return. He's out across the 20. And pushed out of bounds at the 40. Perhaps just the spark Indiana needs. Let's go to Chicago for our T-Mobile studio update with Dave Repson.
Thanks, Matt. Michigan is having its way, as expected, with Hawaii. The native of Hawaii, Roman Wilson, 2 touches, 2 touchdowns. He had a 42-yard catch and then a 21-yard run here. It's 21-0 beginning the second quarter.
Thank you, Dave. A little bit of a different story here in Bloomington as Connor Bazelak is back out, 5 of 14 today for 38 yards. And they go to the ground on first down. Shivers shifting his way up to about the 45.
You know, when the weather is difficult, can you run the football consistently? Because usually this isn't a bad weather month. Usually it's October, November in the Big Ten. You got to be able to run that football.
Bazelak pulls it back to pass. first down, but a flag behind the play as it was Cam Camper to haul it in. And that look after the flag says it all. It has been frustration all first half for Indiana.
Might be a roughing the passer, though.
Personal foul, hands to the face. Defense number 41. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
Well, that'll help.
Hands to the face is the defensive lineman there.
Giuliano Falanico, the USC transfer. One of a couple of Power Fives on this vaulted Idaho defense.
Now, it also adds another 15 onto the play. That was about a 25-yard swing there for the Hoosiers, just what they needed with a $1:47 to go in the second quarter.
First and 10 from the 29. A zip pass goes out to Camper and it's out of his reach.
Watch the hands to the face right there. 41, Falanico trying to get there. You saw his left hand just slide up on the offensive lineman, and the reason they'll call that as a personal foul, gets into his face mask. You control that offensive player pretty easily if you grab his face mask. So good call by the official.
Rain coming down heavier again now as we close the first half. Bazelak going deep, and it's intercepted. Hauled in inside the 5-yard line by Tommy McCormick. And it's the second turnover of the first half for the Vandals.
And he has Camper open on the post route right here. Exactly what they wanted, just a seam rather. And McCormick lays out, makes an incredible catch, just overthrew that football. That's not a hard throw. That's literally a pitch and catch right down the hash. And that look of frustration after a $156 against Illinois, the most ever for a Hoosier in his debut, has struggled, and Bazelak gets on the red phone. The only time you'll see a phone with a cord right now is when the quarterback's talking to the coordinator, Walt Bell. We don't see cords on phones anymore.
It's all texting and cell phones.
Yes.
Right? You talk about Camper, he had 156 yards. Bazelak had 330 yards in the air. That was the most by an Indiana player in his debut since Antoine Randall L. in 1998. A far different situation.
And Randall L. had 385. Can you believe that? He's known for his running, but he threw for a 385. Could throw the rock a little bit. Of course, had a long career with the Steelers.
Another long way to go here for Idaho. As Cam Jones is in on the play, they'll give forward progress. Stopped at the 3-yard line. Jones wanted a safety call, but he won't get it.
So now it's critical now, as you'll see right here up top. See Bryant work across the face of Whitney, the tight end. It was really Bryant who made that play and flushed it to Jones. Great team defense. And you're going to see Indiana take all 3 of their timeouts, try to get the football back, and we're going to step away as Indiana takes a timeout.
Second down and 10 for Giovanni McCoy from inside his own 3-yard line. Opportunity here for Indiana's defense to make a big play before half. They go to the ground. It is Roschon Johnson, and you can see the Indiana players trying to rip that ball out. And it brings up 3rd and long. Indiana takes another timeout. They want one more chance with the football when we come back. 3rd down and 6. What do you do here if you're Idaho?
I like the quarterback run. McCoy, one of your best football players, right? Give a little fake to Johnson, and then get on the edge, see if you can get that first down.
He's got 9 carries for 24 yards, does McCoy. No keeper here. He goes with a handoff, and a first down picked up by Roschon Johnson.
So now the script flips a little bit. You can't get the football back if you're Indiana. You see right here, the cutback's been there for Johnson all day, as Fitzgerald able to bring him down. But now you have 3 timeouts. Do you trust yourself to go down the field and get that first down, get a couple first downs and get within field goal range? Or if you're heck, you say we're up 10-0, let's not make a mistake on the road. And it looks like they're taking their time.
All 3 timeouts left for Idaho, but being very relaxed getting to the line of scrimmage. trailed 35-0 at the half here last year. Johnson breaks another big one on first down. That's a pickup of 7.
I'm impressed how Idaho's running the football. I did not expect Idaho to be able to run the football like they have. And I will say they've got favorable boxes from Indiana with the 2 high safety look Indiana's running. They're basically not stacking the box, and Johnson's had a pretty favorable first half.
On a scale of 1 to 10, where is your surprise level right now?
10.
Indiana coming off a huge win in the Big Ten on this field last week against Illinois. Offense really started to look good at the end of that game. And they are taking on a far different Idaho team than they saw last year, a team that they beat 56-14. Jason Eck has his Vandals playing really good football here on the road in back-to-back weeks against Power 5 teams.
And they believe it. They've stuck around. A couple miscues early, right? Turnovers, some missed field goals, and that's what kept Idaho in this football game and now leading this football game.
Let's go down to the sideline with Shane Sparks.
Coach Allen, what was most frustrating about that first half?
Well, just not finishing those drives offensively to start with, missing 2 field goals, having an interception and fumble, just too many mistakes, and we got to make a lot of changes, and we got to finish strong.
How does the conversation start in that locker room?
Well, first of all, we got to fix some things structurally, and then we got to make sure our guys are understanding. We got to flush the first half and come out and play our tails off in the second. Bottom line.
Thanks for the time, Matt.
Thank you, Shane. Coming up, stick around for the Reese's Peanut Butter Cups halftime report. Dave Rebson, Jerry DiNardo, and Howard Griffith break down the first half in our studios in Chicago. Indiana defense gave Idaho all they could handle in the first half, but it's the Vandals on top by 10 at halftime here in Bloomington. Welcome back to Bloomington for the start of the second half from Memorial Stadium. The Indiana Hoosiers, heavy favorites against the Idaho Vandals, find themselves down 10-0 after the first period. Vandals will get the ball to start the second half. Matt Schumacher, Jay Lehman with you. And Jay, Idaho possessed the ball for 12 minutes and 53 seconds in the second quarter.
Dominated time of possession, not only in that quarter, but the entire first half. I mean, you could not draw up a worse half for the Indiana Hoosiers. Can they bounce back in the second half and make a comeback?
Fair caught inside the 10. Football on the Big Ten Network. Brought to you by Auto Owners Insurance, simple human sense, and by Discover, the official credit card of the Big Ten Conference. These photos from the 1967-68 Co-Big Ten Championship team that made it to the Rose Bowl in 1968. Lost to USC, and tonight they are being honored. John Pont, the late head coach of that team that went 9-2. The last time that an Indiana football team won the Big Ten championship.
Special group of guys 55 years ago.
And now the first drive of the second half, and McCoy uncorks one deep down the middle of the field and almost intercepted by Jalen Williams.
How about Jason? Fortune favors the bold. Have brave and bold on. This is double coverage. Jalen Williams could have picked this off easily. You got 2 all Big Ten corners, Gardner receiver and Taiwan Mullen and Jalen Williams, and you still throw it. I don't know if that's stupid or brave or both.
Let's go down to Shane Sparks, who talked with Jason Eck at a halftime.
Well, Coach Eck was pretty jovial, but he said we can play a whole lot better. Shot themselves in the foot a few times with some costly penalties. Also said they got to get that kicking game figured out. In the second half, it's all about ball security. They didn't have any turnovers in that first half, so that was great. He was happy with that. He said he can see the belief, and he told me the Vandals can't beat the Vandals. That'll be the key because he doesn't believe the Hoosiers can beat those Vandals, and he said this first drive is huge. Score some points and put the pressure on Indiana. Matt?
Thank you, Shane. Third down 7 for the Vandals, who lead it by 10 here at the start of the third quarter.
You got some sense when you were talking to Jason Eck. He believed he had a shot in this game.
Oh, yeah.
Had some swagger to him.
McCoy on third down. Lots of time, and now the pocket collapses, and the Indiana defense comes up with a second sack of the ball game. It was Desan McCullough, the freshman, making the play.
The coverage sack. Nobody is open. He's looking, decides to run up, and this time they contain him. And McCullough's able to make the play. He's made a couple plays. Second sack of the night for the rangy young football player.
Played 3 different positions for Indiana in his debut as a true freshman, I might add, against Illinois last week. They love what he brings to this defense. Botched the punt, almost got blocked, and it just gets across the 50. DJ Matthews gets out of the way. It ends up being a better punt than you might have thought.
But that flag, that he botched the punt. He did not go to run. He just dropped the snap and then punted it. And then he was hit. And the ball, if you block the punt, get any part of the ball, it's not roughing the kicker. Let's take a look right here. Watch, he drops, he muffs the snap, but picks it up. Now he's a left-footed punter. And so Bamba comes in and hits him. And so the question they're discussing is, the call looks to be roughing the punter. Now,
which would give Idaho the ball back.
Is it 5 yards or is it 15 yards is the big question. Is it a personal foul, automatic first down, or is it 5 yards, which makes a huge difference right here? I think that's what they're discussing.
Well, we've already seen once in this game, Idaho
running into the kicker,
first down, getting the ball back.
On the receiving team, the penalty is declined. First down, Indiana.
So it was the lesser of the 2 penalties.
It was a running into the kicker. It was a good enough punt that Jason Eck said, hey, I really want to get the field position, but they dodge a bullet right there. The Vandals get the punt off, and the Hoosiers will be going out of the way when we get back.
At Fidelity, your dedicated advisor will help you create a comprehensive wealth plan for your full financial picture with the right balance of risk and reward, so you can enjoy more of this. This is the planning effect.
Is it too early to start celebrating Halloween? Well, if you're celebrating by eating Reese's, then no. You're actually late. Not sorry, Reese's.
What's your favorite live event? A rockin' concert? An action-packed game? Whatever it is, enter for a chance to win tickets in the 5-hour Energy Live sweepstakes. For rules and how to enter, visit 5helive.com.
Jake from State Farm. I really want that personal price plan, so I'll admit it. I'm a bath bomb guy.
Dude, you do not need to get that personal. The State Farm Personal Price Plan simply helps you create an affordable price just for you.
For real?
Who's ready for their jazz bath? No?
Who is that guy?
Jazz bath? Call or click to get a quote today. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
It's Taco Bell's double steak grilled cheese burrito with all that steak, nacho cheese sauce, shredded cheese, and even more melty cheese grilled on top. It's back, the double steak grilled cheese burrito, only at Taco Bell.
T-Mobile has 5G here, and we also cover you up here. Yep. Get free Wi-Fi now with streaming all flight long. We do coverage differently, with expanded high-speed data across the world. So you're connected here, and here? Not yet. But down here, you're covered with a year of AAA roadside assistance on us. On the ground, in the air, or overseas, T-Mobile has coverage beyond the expected.
Shine your light, we're better together. Going higher, higher. Oh, we're better together. All around the world we are one. Oh, we're better together. Going higher, higher.
10-0 lead for Idaho. Indiana gets the ball back. Dean Blandino, what'd you see on that last play?
Yeah, they called running into the kicker, and I think that's the key distinction. Roughing would be something into the plant leg, something unnecessary. Running is just the 5-yard version. It still applies in the tackle box, but it obviously didn't result in a first down.
But what it results in is a huge first down run for Shaun Shivers, and that's exactly the punch Indiana needed to throw coming out of the halftime locker room.
And if it was roughing the punter, they would have got the ball, you know, it would have been a first down, so it's a big distinction right there and sets up a big run here for Shivers, who lost the ball but then was able to recover the ball, and they're in business here early.
31 yards on first down. Bazelak going to the air, and it's through the hands of Anderson Kobe.
He has just not been accurate tonight. There's no way around it. This is not the same quarterback we saw play against Illinois, where he lit him up for 330 yards. Simply is not on target with any of his receivers. Kobe, Matthews, Camper.
Haven't seen any really big plays to the wide receivers so far in this game, and it's coming off a night against Illinois. 2 wide receivers with over 100 yards receiving. Bazelak to the far sideline, and that was caught by A.J. Barner.
Just looked at numbers, had man coverage into the boundary. Barner able to come back and make the play. Now he's going to count right here. He'll say, okay, how many guys they keep it in here? Where's the man-to-man? Where's should I run? Timeout, Indiana.
On 3rd and 1, Indiana has to burn a timeout here early in the 3rd quarter. Looking for their first score of the ball game, down 10 in Bloomington. Next Saturday, we're all Big Ten all morning with previews of every game and all the fun from right here in Bloomington. Big Ten tailgate presented by Tums. Next Saturday, 10 a.m. Eastern, right here on the Big Ten Network. Indiana with probably their best drive since early in the first half. They had an 11-play, 38-yard drive stymied on the goal line by this Idaho defense. And it's a handoff up the middle, and a big pickup on 3rd and short for Shaun Shivers.
There's been times when that Indiana offensive line has been solid and Shivers has gotten 4, 5, 6 yards a clip, and there's been other times they've been stymied.
71 yards for Shivers. And they go to him again, and this time he is dropped in the backfield as we send it down to Shane.
Well, talking to offensive coordinator Walt Belt about Shaun Shivers last week, it was difficult. Just 28 carries, but he helped the team in other ways, 28 yards rather. Took that big hit early on. He rallied back, but he continued to run hard. Great pass protection, and it was a big presence on the sideline. So he helps his team out in many ways, and they'll lean on him here in this second half.
3 wide receivers out to the right. Shivers in the backfield. Bazelak taking the shot, and it is hauled in for a catch. DJ Matthews with his biggest reception of the game, and it's a first down for Indiana.
That's the best ball he's throwing, the deep out from the opposite hash. You got to have an arm to throw that football, and Matthews made him right on it. Man coverage across the board here to the field.
Empty backfield. Bazelak surveying, one-handed catch by Matthews. He's into the 5-yard line and beyond. Back-to-back big-time plays by the senior.
You need somebody to make a play, and that's been Matthews. 2 sensational catches on back-to-back plays, and they're in business, 1st and goal from the 4. Now this is where they were stymied in the first half on 4 plays and got shut down on the 4th down run to Shivers.
Connor Bazelak lining up near the near sideline here. So some trickery perhaps for Indiana. Donovan McCulley, the quarterback turned wide receiver, into the backfield. And he's going to run it. McCulley up the middle, and he's into the end zone for a touchdown. Indiana on the board. big catches by DJ Matthews, Jay, to set up this touchdown by Donovan McCulley.
Well, it was the first one that set up the big play for the first down, then the one hand, then McCulley comes in. You got to know it's quarterback run. I think they did, but it was blocked up.
First touchdown of the season for Donovan McCulley, and the point after is good. Indiana on the board with 10:31 left in the third quarter. And the best drive of the game results in a touchdown for the Hoosiers. Connor Bazelak leads an 8-play, 70-yard drive for a touchdown, capped off by a run by Donovan McCulley. And the offense looked a lot better on that drive, Jay, than we saw in the first half.
Had a couple guys make plays, most notably DJ Matthews. 2 great catches, one on a long, deep out from the opposite hash from Bazelak, and then the slant route where you hold him with one hand. A little trickeration with bringing Bazelak out to receiver. McCulley, the former high school quarterback, played a little quarterback last year for the Hoosiers, comes in, quarterback run, touchdown.
Michael Graves and Jordan Dwyer back to receive the kick. They will let it sail into the end zone. Indiana held scoreless in the first half, but it's McCulley from the 10 running it in.
And just a QB power to get numbers. The reason you have the quarterback run is you get an extra hat to block because the quarterback's not handing the football off. McCulley, who played a little QB for the Hoosiers last year, recruited as a QB out of high school in Indianapolis, gets the touchdown.
What was the difference on that drive, in your opinion, compared to what we saw in the first half?
Well, no rain, number one. Number two, they had some guys make some plays, right? They finally had a guy step up, make a play, and it changed the whole outlook. Once DJ Matthews made that catch, and he made another one, he kind of got confidence as an offense.
2 catches on that drive by DJ Matthews for 25 yards as McCulley pulls it back on first down. Now he's flushed out of the pocket, and he slides down with a flag thrown behind the play.
44 on the tackle, Casey.
See if it was blocking low here. There was a low block.
Personal foul. Illegal block below the waist. Offense number 28. The block was from the side. Will penalize half the distance to the goal. Repeat first down.
I think that's a tough call because the back is trying to block Cam Jones, who wiggles at the last second right there. I don't really think that's from the side. I think he's trying to attack him head on. Boy, that's a difficult call. And maybe we could get Dean Blandino to explain. This is a point of emphasis now on blocking low. And that's a very tough call for a running back to get that. I think he tried to square him up, but was unable to.
It was the freshman Anthony Woods. Half the distance to the goal now, Idaho from their own 10-yard line. And McCoy behind the intended receiver. Let's bring in Dean Blandino.
Yeah, tough one. And remember, that's a stationary back in the backfield. He has to block from the front. They call it 10 and 2, right? Driving school, the 10 and the 2. It looked like it might have just been from the side, but I'm not convinced it was low. It might have been right at the hip. And it's got to be below the waist. Really tough call there. It's a judgment call, and in the official's judgment, it was a foul.
Well, that's a good point that Dean made. It maybe wasn't a low block defined as below the waist because he does bring the shoulder into the belt line, it seemed. I thought the question was he square enough, which I thought.
Ball gets away from McCoy, and he's down in the end zone. It is a safety for the Indiana defense. And the first big miscue of the game for the Idaho Vandals.
What did Jason Eck say? He is fired up on the sidelines right now as he gets his Vandals off the field. But watch the snap. He's not even ready for it. McCoy's not ready for it. And it's the Vandals beating themselves right now in the second half so far. 2 points for the Hoosiers. 10-9 Hoosiers. Rather, Vandals.
Idaho head coach Jason Eck not happy, probably still displeased with that call on his freshman running back Anthony Woods that backed them all the way up inside their own 10. And then this play here, a miscommunication, Jay, results in a safety.
Well, obviously, all the offensive line goes on the snap, whether they're watching the ball, their snap count, but the one guy who wasn't ready for it was Giovanni McCoy. Just simply wasn't ready. The snap wasn't necessarily Aaron. It was just he was not ready for the football, results in a safety.
What did Jason Eck say coming into the second half? The Idaho Vandals cannot beat themselves. Here is the return from DJ Matthews, and he is stuffed at about the 35-yard line. Let's go down to Shane Sparks.
Well, down here on this Indiana sideline, it is a whole new energy. Guys are up, they're smiling, talking to each other. They look much more loose in that first half, in my opinion. They looked like they were kind of sleeping. A lot of long faces, didn't have the energy. They are smelling momentum right now. They pull this into within a 1-point game.
Great stuff, Shane. It's an Indiana team that has talked about grit a lot, Jay. They feel like that's what makes this program special this year. First down, and Bazelak has a man. It's Cam Camper across the 50-yard line and still fighting for more. Another Indiana first down.
This is what we thought we'd see, that little bit of RPO action, fake the run, and then this the slant, bang that slant on the backside. The Camper, that big body in between him and the defender for a nice gain.
Bazelak back to pass again. This time it's eaten up by Marcus Harris. Paul Moala also in on the tackle, the Notre Dame transfer. Indiana's last drive, 8 plays, 70 yards. Resulted in a touchdown, their first score of the game. On 2nd and 7, Bazelak going for it all, and it's caught just in front of the 10-yard line. And now the officials are going to wave it off. Cam Camper did not get it in bounds.
Back shoulder fade to perfection, except Camper not able to finish the catch. He wants that one back.
No rain here in the second half. We are seeing Bazelak air it out a little bit more than we saw in the first period. And now 3rd and long. 3 receivers to his left, Shivers in the backfield. And it's a free play for Indiana and a catch by A.J. Barner. First down and more. Barner into the end zone. And it's a touchdown for the Hoosiers. "43 yards. Indiana takes the lead.
Such a game of momentum. He knows he has a free play here, right? He draws the defender off sides, Falanico. He throws it to Barner, and the defenders knock each other off. Watch, so knock each other off Barner, and then Barner's able to get the field for the touchdown. Who is this Indiana football team?
Much different team than we saw in the first half. And the extra point is good. Indiana, 16 unanswered points out of the halftime locker room. A.J. Barner, his first touchdown of the season. How about a couple of new guys punching it in for Indiana?
A.J. Barner, so big, great hands, and the ability to finish to put the Hoosiers up.
Well, A.J. Barner coming in and filling some pretty big shoes. The 3-time All Big Ten tight end Peyton Hendershot now on the 53-man roster for the Cowboys. Huge play, breaking 3 tacklers to get into the end zone. Indiana, Jay, 16 unanswered points in this half.
We've seen Bazelak throw better balls, but his receivers make plays, catching the ball and after the catch, that have totally turned the mood and momentum of this game around.
So now Giovanni McCoy, last time we saw him on the field, he wasn't ready for the snap. Ball trickled into the end zone. He had to dive on it, resulted in an Indiana safety.
Here's another look. Look at that ball in between 2 defenders. You see the defenders that knock each other out. And Barner able to finish, the speed to finish, moves well for a big man. A late bloomer, a guy they're really high on. They think this guy can be as good as some of the tight ends. You mentioned Peyton Hendershot, great player here for years, now playing for the Cowboys.
Played 20 games coming into this season, but mainly on special teams. His first opportunity to shine in the offense as they go to Rashawn Johnson on first down for Idaho. How about these numbers for Connor Bazelak? In this half, 6 for 8, 98 yards. First half, 6 for 17, 49 yards. Totally different look for Indiana.
Totally different, right? And Walt Bell's offense, they can strike you fast. Now that's good and bad. We saw the bad of that in the first half. No time of possession at all, right? 12 minutes and 52 seconds in the second quarter for the Vandals compared to the Hoosiers. This half, we see 16 points very quickly.
Now the redshirt freshman, Giovanni McCoy, tasked with leading this offense, trailing for the first time tonight. And they go to the ground again. It'll be 3rd and short for Idaho.
I like what Jason Heck's doing. Go back to running the football. If Indiana's going to be in a 2-deep zone coverage and give you numbers to run the football, let your defense rest a little bit. Indiana just subbed in McCullough. Dangerous defender.
He's made a couple of big plays in this game already.
Usually used on blitzes. And they stack it expecting to run.
That's what they'll get. And it is McCullough making the stop in the backfield and tackle for a loss.
You always got to know when a guy comes in a special situation. You can see off the edge right here, you'll see him crash down hard and simply beats the tight end's leg. He crosses the face and able to make the tackle for loss. McCullough, so rangy for a freshman. You want a guy with speed and length. He's got both of them. Now you just got to put the strength on him. He's going to be a special football player.
They call him a unicorn because he played every position defensively in high school and a little bit of wide receiver.
And he has the body type to do it and the speed to do it.
DJ Matthews back to receive the punt. And he catches it at the 30-yard line and goes out of bounds. We will step aside for 15 seconds. A lot more smiles on that Indiana sideline than we saw in the first half. Shane Sparks told us from the sideline the energy has changed, and certainly things have changed for Connor Bazelak.
Certainly, especially his receivers, the way he's getting the football out. No rain. I think that's helping his accuracy, which was off in the first half.
Go to the ground. Shivers scampers across the 35. And a big pickup on first down. Remember, he set up their first touchdown with a 33-yard run. And then a couple of great passes from Connor Bazelak. The offense starting to get things going here midway through the third quarter. Shivers 14 carries, 75 yards. He was held to just 28 yards against Illinois last week. Bazelak looking on a post route, and it is caught by Donovan McCulley.
All Bazelak does is look at the safety. He says, who's the safety over the top of, and who has man coverage? Like right now, you've got man coverage into the boundary, right? Now they got two safety looks, so you check to run.
Back to Shivers, wiggling his way through the defense. Shivers still on his feet, and he's dragged down inside the 30.
Bazelak reading the defense. He sees two safeties going to run the football. He sees safety over the top to one side, man coverage to the other side. He'll throw the football that way. Another two safety look.
And they go right back to Shivers. The chain gang barely has enough time to get him set with this Indiana team.
Well, they average, as Shane said, 12 to 13 seconds between plays when they're really rolling. Now, that shot him in the foot with time of possession in the first half. Now it's kind of got Idaho on their heels a bit and see if they can finish this drive out. They're slowing down here a bit.
They're going to give Sean Shivers a breather. He's got 99 yards rushing in this game. Bazelak going Another touchdown for the Hoosiers. 25 yards. Indiana pouring it on in the second half.
We thought we would see this all night. The post route right here looks away the safety, so it's one-on-one with Matthews on the money. So much more accurate in the second half, and Matthews has really been the guy that's gotten the passing game going. 2 big catches on the last drive, big touchdown there. Bazelak hugged his offensive line. He's feeling better than the first half, ready to roll.
8 plays, 70 yards and a touchdown. This one 5 plays, 72 yards in a minute and 43. And this Indiana team was shot out of a cannon coming out of the halftime locker room. 23 unanswered points for the Hoosiers. It's on the last 3 drives. Tomorrow, stream women's soccer live on the Big Ten Plus app as the Hoosiers host Memphis. There is no plus like home. Download the Big Ten Plus app and subscribe today. What a turn of events here in Indiana. 23 unanswered points after Indiana was held scoreless in the first half. The Hoosiers offense has come alive, and the defense has continued to be exceptional, Jay.
Very good. They've stopped the run. They've limited McCoy in the pocket from scrambling and taken away the explosive pass plays that we saw from Jermaine Jackson. And they've limited their big mistakes. Remember, they had a huge mistake on that pass interference. They gated the Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald had interference, and Tywan Mullen had that pick. Negated that big return that could have turned the whole first half around. But they bounced back here in the second half and up 23-10 as we look at Bazelak taking in
206 yards in the quarter for Connor Bazelak and company, compared to just 6 yards for Giovanni McCoy and the Idaho Vandals, who had 170 yards in the first half. McCoy flushed out of the pocket, has to get rid of it, and it's through the hands of his intended receiver, Jordan Dwyer.
It's a good ball from McCoy. Throwing on the run to his right. Dwyer. Dwyer should have come down with that. That would have been a game that the Vandals sorely needed to stop some of this momentum and the bleeding here in this third quarter.
McCoy now 0 for 4 throwing the ball in this quarter. 2nd down and 10 from his own 25. And they go to the ground. And it's a 1st down and more for the Vandals. Anthony Woods, the freshman, lowering the shoulder pads.
Woods is a guy that popped on the tape when you watched Washington State game. He surprised a lot of people. Watch him run the stretch play, then take one cut and get up the field to seam. Monster Matthews has to make the play deep in the secondary.
Jason Eck told us Anthony Woods reminds him of Pierre Strong, a 2-time first-team All-American at South Dakota State and a 4th-round draft pick by the Patriots this year. They go on the jet sweep to Dwyer, and he's chased out of bounds. Maybe a pickup of 3.
A lot of yards east and west there, just strung out by that Indiana defense, which very rarely loses contain. You might gash them up the middle. As you look at Devon Monster Matthews, he's made a lot of plays here in his career in Indiana. Very veteran secondary, as we've talked about.
Was their most outstanding defensive player of the year within the program in spite of injury last season. McCoy gives it off on 2nd and 8. And there is the Indiana defense swallowing up the running back. Deshaun McCullough was there, as was Aaron Casey.
McCullough has been all over the field. He's a situational football player, but you see he's able to read, slide down. He keeps his body square. Watch his shoulders stay square. You see that? That allows him to actually cut back with the runner. See how he didn't turn his shoulders toward the line of scrimmage? He kept his shoulders square. Well-coached football. That's That's clinic tape right there as far as how you play on the backside when a play moves away to be ready for the cutback.
5 tackles, 2 for a loss tonight for the freshman. 3rd down and long for Idaho. Pressure comes. McCoy gets rid of it. There is a flag down in the backfield. It was intended for Jermaine Jackson. Noah Pierre, though, was all over it.
Offense number 55. Decline. 4th down.
So the holding call against Abe Christensen is declined, and that brings up 4th down.
Yeah, it was Aaron Casey coming in there. He grabbed his jersey a bit, applying the pressure.
In your mind, what has been the biggest difference in the second half for Indiana?
Connor Bazelak. I mean, no question. Just so much more accurate. His receivers made some plays early to get him going a bit. DJ Matthews, most notably. But his accuracy is night and day different from where he was in the first half.
Indiana burns their 2nd timeout. We'll step aside for 30 seconds. Welcome back to Bloomington. 23 unanswered points for Indiana, and Idaho is going to go for it here on 4th down and 8 from their own 41.
Look for number 1, Jermaine Jackson, 2nd receiver from the top of your screen in the slot, right on the hash.
McCoy with time. Now moving to his left, and it's overthrown. Guess who in the backfield? Desan McCullough rushing McCoy, and Indiana gets a turnover on downs.
This freshman's special. McCullough all over the field, so rangy. Is he just spying McCoy? Able to be right in front of him. I don't think McCoy knew who he was throwing it to. You see Jason Eck, and he knew that was a big play. I mean, a 4th down. They get the ball now at the 41. Can put some more distance, can make this a 3-possession football game.
And he had to go for it there, right? Because Indiana's offense, 3 drives, 3 touchdowns in this quarter. 1 drive for 70 yards, 1 for 64, and another for 72.
I think he felt this game is getting away from him in a hurry.
Bazelak to the air, and he dumps it underneath to Josh Henderson.
Passes to 26.
Favai. The Washington State transfer from 2 years ago. He's made some plays all over the field. They've slowed down the tempo a little bit here, and a lot more looking to the sideline. You know, it's almost like Bazelak was making more decisions himself in the first half, and it's looking like he's looking to the sideline more for what to do.
Hands it off to Henderson, and he gashes up the middle for a 1st down. Good adjustment for the offensive coordinator, Walt Bell.
Yeah, great adjustment. You can see these wide splits by these receivers for Iowa. They're going to, for Indiana. They're going to make those defensive backs line up wide with them, and so it's going to create space in the run game. And then he's going to count. Okay, wait, I see 2 safeties here. I should be able to run the football here. Now they sneak a guy in. You see they're trying to disguise that linebacker. Is he in coverage or not? They could throw the football if they wanted to.
They will run it instead, and Henderson bounces off a couple of tacklers and strung out for a negligible gain on 1st down.
Well, and who made that tackle? It was the backer they brought in who was the extra guy. So it's about confusing Bazelak on does he run, does he pass? And they've really slowed down the tempo to make sure, hey, rather than go fast, let's do it right rather than fast and do it wrong.
Bazelak ran a wishbone offense in high school and told us, hey, listen, I know how to read the defensive end, the linebackers who are coming in on that run pass option. He goes quick to the left side, and it's Emery Simmons popped just across the 25.
Passes to 0. Emery Simmons, 31 on the tackle. Matthias Bertram.
Bazelak now 16 of 29, 197 yards, 2 touchdowns. Both of those touchdowns coming here in the 3rd quarter.
So Walt Bell decided to take the gas off a little bit, chew some clock.
Henderson on 3rd down. Picks his way through the defense and more, rumbling across the 10-yard line. First down, Indiana. For a team that struggled to run the football against Illinois last week, over 140 yards on the ground tonight against Idaho.
Well, where's the game won or lost? On the line. They've gotten physical. They've gotten accurate. They've gotten points, something they didn't have any of in the first half. Fourth quarter, we come back.
Lots to cheer about in Bloomington now in the third, after the third quarter. Way more to cheer about than what we saw in the first half. 23 unanswered points for the Hoosiers. And now they're inside the 10, knocking on the door again for another Connor Bazelak touchdown. He goes to the ground instead. Henderson pulls his way into the end zone. Touchdown, Indiana.
26. Josh Henderson.
Talk about strength here by Henderson. Good blocking right up the B gap of the defense. Look at the leg drive, right? That's the key. Low and leg drive and able to finish. 29 unanswered.
And the offense is going to stay on the field to go for it. 2-point conversion. Bazelak chased out of the pocket, buying time. And A.J. Barner stopped short of the goal line. Indiana leads it by 19. A different team in this second half. And they are putting their mark on this game at the start of the fourth quarter. Here is tonight's mayhem moment brought to you by Allstate. Indiana scores a touchdown. Then on the subsequent drive, Giovanni McCoy sees the ball sail past him. Results in a safety, and then after that, the Indiana offense came alive, Jay.
Yeah, Barner broke out for a big touchdown run, a touchdown catch and run. And then, how about DJ Matthews? You know, 5'11", $160, but plays a whole lot bigger. He put a whole lot bigger in the third quarter, I can tell you that much, with 3 dynamic catches that really broke the game open.
2 rushing touchdowns, 2 passing touchdowns, all of Indiana's points until the last touchdown came in the third quarter. What do you think was said in the halftime locker room?
A few choice words.
Let's send it down to Shane Sparks on the sideline.
First-year defensive coordinator Chad Will told us in our meeting yesterday that it's about a series of efforts. A play, a drive, a half, a game. Just keep on playing. Don't worry about the scoreboard. Be in the moments. Be where your feet are at, and everything will take care of itself. Said this defense is playing with a chip on its shoulder after last year's disappointments, and the message is takeaways, tackling, and effort. And we have definitely seen increased effort in this second half.
Boy, have we ever. Indiana's defense has held Idaho scoreless here in the second half.
I'm almost thinking, did they get new guys at halftime and just put the same different jerseys on them, or what? Because I don't think I remember a game. We've called a number of games now. Been around football on time. I don't think I've ever seen a team look so bad in the first half and so good in the second half.
What do you attribute that to? I mean, the rain, the delay, all of it?
I think there was the rain, there was delay. Big emotional win against Illinois. Big Ten opener, right? And I think this is what Tom Allen was talking about. He was so urgent because he knew, he might have felt, man, I feel like we might be looking past these guys. I'm not looking past these guys. We got young football players, people that haven't been here. Nothing's guaranteed here. We got to make sure we come play. And he knew that Idaho was going to come out and do that.
They go to the ground. Rashawn Johnson across the 35 for a first down. He has had an excellent night, over 50 yards rushing on the ground tonight for Idaho. 239 yards of offense in the half and 23 points.
So I'm not a math major, but that's 956 yards average a game if you do it every quarter. And they didn't even get the kickoff. They didn't get the kickoff.
I like where your head's at.
It's sharp, I'll tell you that, for being past 11 o'clock Eastern here in Indiana. We get it done.
That's that Big Ten education.
Yes, sir.
At the University of Illinois. A first down toss. Back to Johnson. He's bottled up across the 40.
Bradley Jennings on the stop.
Go back to what we talked about at the start of the second half, and Tom Allen telling us there's something special about this team. Their grit, their resilience, the sense of urgency. And you might be onto something, Jay, with that emotional win last week, because there was almost a desperation amongst this Indiana team to beat Illinois last week and snap an 8-game losing streak.
It was tangible, according to Tom Allen, and they really wanted it. They got it done. And I think that was the key for them as far as putting last year behind them, saying, hey, that was a fluke. They had a lot of injuries, a lot of stuff we couldn't control. It's a new season. We're starting 1-0 as a team, 1-0 in the Big Ten Conference. And when you play in the Big Ten East, Big Ten wins don't come easy at all. You know, you look at the back end of Indiana's schedule every year. They've got to play Michigan, Michigan State, Ohio State, Penn State every year. And so it's not easy.
They have 3 teams on their schedule right now inside the AP top 15. 3rd down and 1 for Idaho. McCoy flips it to the freshman Dwyer. Strung out to the sideline, and he just scoots across to get the first down.
21 Dwyer on the carry.
You look at that play, you think he's gaining a lot more yards than he is, and he gains 2. Watch him just stretch it out right here. Good play on the edge right there by Jalen Williams, using his hands. That's all Big Ten play right there. Use your hands, get off the block, make the tackle on Dwyer in space. Yes, he gets the first down, but a good play as Jason Eck looks on and says, what can I dial up to get some points on the board and get my football team back in this football game?
Idaho's lone touchdown, a 98-yard drive, started on their own 2. Now Sanguinetti in on the tackle, as was Cam Jones. Bringing Roshan Johnson to the turf.
Big Tevis, big 47. He's made some plays. Another one of these transfers. Guy who's just kind of a lunch pail guy, right? He's going to work hard. He's going to bring it. He's not going to be flashy. Going to be great at the point of attack.
It's funny you say he's a lunch pail guy. Coming from Cal, super smart. He's in the Kelly School of Business here at Indiana. Very tough program to get into. Tom Allen told us it's like talking to an assistant coach. That's how bright this young man is.
Real mature. When I say lunch pail, I say plays tough. I don't think he may not be carrying a lunch pail with that degree, right? I mean, he'll probably be an engineer somewhere, building buildings and skyscrapers.
Hard worker, and a guy that has picked up the schemes very quickly. One of a number of transfers in their first year on this Indiana defense.
And they needed some beef on the D-line. They got big DeMarcus Elliott. You know, Alfred Bryant has played a lot for them. But they needed some beef up there to protect Aaron Casey, to protect Cam Jones. Cam Jones probably the best all-around playmaker on this team, along with Tywan Mullen.
3rd down and 5. To the ground, and another first down. Anthony Woods, the freshman, putting his head down and getting out across the 40.
You look at what Idaho has done here, and you see just coming straight at you here. Just O-line got numbers, and they run through. You see Aaron Casey makes the play. But Idaho's put together 2 or 3 first downs here running the football. Indiana really struggled against Chase Brownell. Now, who hasn't struggled against Chase Brown? I mean, he's gone off for over 146 yards.
Good point.
Each game this year, right? But even Idaho getting serious. They're going to have to shore up their run defense in the Big Ten. Their pass defense, I think, is pretty exceptional with the experience they have back there.
Hand off to Johnson, a couple of cuts, and then he darts forward towards the 35. 9 plays for a little over 40 yards on this drive for Idaho, trying to chip away at this 19-point deficit. And they have been blitzed in this second half by Indiana. Led it 10-0 going into the halftime locker room, and Jason Eck's team has been held scoreless ever since.
I wouldn't be surprised if Jermaine Jackson gets a look here. They've been running the football effectively here, but number 1 just came to the game. Second from the top of your screen is the guy they like to pinpoint.
McCoy looking to his left. He's got a man open. Instead, it's a dump down to Rashawn Johnson inside the 10-yard line. And he's pushed out of bounds.
That's what you call a MA, a missed assignment. He's going to slip out of the backfield, and nobody picks him up in man coverage. Somebody's got Johnson, yet nobody picks him up, and that's when you're going to get a big gain, right? So there's a mental mistake, leads to a big gain. And now Idaho, first and goal from the 9.
They have not been in the red zone since the first half. First and goal from the 9-yard line. McCoy stepping up in the pocket, and he is dropped hard by DeMarcus Elliott.
Elliott has played a lot of football here. Watch them stay in their rush lane. See Lucas. You see Bo Robbins, DeMarcus Elliott. When you're playing a guy like Giovanni McCoy, you got to stay in your rush lane because he'll exploit you. You get out of your lane, he'll run in that lane. He's like a good running back, good quarterback like water. Always find the hole. You saw DeMarcus Elliott seal that up, though.
No gain on the play, second down and goal. Graves comes in motion. McCoy floats it over the top and finds Roschon Johnson for the score. Well executed on second and goal.
Actually, the play they ran, that got called back on a penalty. If you remember in the first half, same play design. They rub the route. It's a rub route. That tailback just slips out of the backfield, and they're not able to get over the top of the other guys, and Aaron Casey not able to cover his man. Touchdown Vandals. Another 13 points down with a chance to go for 2 possibly.
And they will.
So I'm trying to think, what is the benefit of going for 2? And if you go for 2 here, you're down 11, which would put you down, you know, a touchdown, a 2-point conversion, and a field goal.
Sure. Idaho has all 3 timeouts. Going for 2. It's a trick play, and it is snuffed out. Big time play, and it is Taiwan Mullen, the former All-American, jumping the route.
Was not fooled at all. Taiwan Mullen saw the ball handed off and then saw the throwback. So watch here. Hand off, and then watch him throw the football back, but Mullen's just waiting for him. Nice clean hit for the Hoosiers.
Football on the Big Ten Network is brought to you by State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. See a couple of horns down there from the Alabama win over Texas earlier today. That was a close one. There's been some really good games in college football today.
Great games. I mean, Quinn Ewers went down. Oh, onside kick. And on the onside, boy, they got lucky there. Mishandled it, bounced off Barner's leg out of bounds. We're here talking about great college games. That could have made it a great game if they get that onside kick and go.
Next Saturday, another great slate of football games comes your way on the Big Ten Network as the Hoosiers take on Western Kentucky plus Northwestern, Wisconsin, and Iowa. See action during a triple-header. It all starts with the Big Ten tailgate from Bloomington next Saturday on the Big Ten Network and the Fox Sports app. Badgers going down today against Washington State, a team that this Idaho team took to the very bitter end in Pullman last week, ultimately losing on a touchdown, on a interception rather, in the final moments of the game.
And they battled, right? I mean, other than that third quarter where they were just overwhelmed, they've battled.
Hand off to Shivers. He's up the middle and he's gone. Sean Shivers, a touchdown for Indiana. His first touchdown of the night, and it's a big one for the Hoosiers.
Just opened up like the Red Sea, and he goes to the end zone of crimson and cream. I mean, it was just wide open, not a safety in sight, as the safeties were up, and once they broke through that first line, Shivers able to break a big run. Looks like they're going to go for 2 here.
Shivers 17 carries, 144 yards after last week's 15 carries for 28 yards. And the Hoosiers will go for 2. Bazelak under center. Bootleg to the right. And the back of the end zone, he was looking for Camper, and it's incomplete. Sean Shivers picks up the first touchdown of the night for himself. 3rd on the ground for Indiana, and it's a big one from midfield. Nothing but green in front of him. It's all Indiana in the second half. Indiana's upcoming schedule brought to you by Wendy's, a date right here in Bloomington with Western Kentucky next week. Team that was one of the most explosive offenses in FBS last year. Then at Cincinnati, a rematch of last year's game that was close, at least in the beginning. No Desmond Ridder, of course. Cincinnati, a playoff team last year, receiving votes this year. But outside of that Michigan game, a very manageable schedule for Indiana.
Very manageable. You know, Nebraska's had some trouble early on, as we saw with their loss with Western in week 0. Maryland, I think, because the Big Ten East, it's always an even matchup with Indiana.
Let's go down to Shane Sparks, a wrestling connection with Tom Allen.
Well, Tom Allen talks a lot about grit, and one place he learned about grit was on the wrestling mat. He was a 2-sport athlete in college at what was then called Maranatha Baptist College in Watertown, Wisconsin. His head coach was Ben Peterson, 1972 Olympic champion. He then, after college, coached some high school wrestling. Coach Allen said he loves wrestling, the mental toughness, the offensive and defensive lines with the leverage, the hand fights, and also that footwork. It was also funny that he told us during college wrestling season, he was cutting some weight after adding it for football, and his then girlfriend, now wife Tracy, said it was during those months he was awfully hangry. I understand.
Yes, he was having to cut 20-25 pounds, he told Shane, Jay, and I earlier this week.
Yeah, he said there was, back in the day, it was the heavyweight, and then it was 190. So he was playing at 210, 215 at backer, then cutting weight. Man, I can just imagine that guy cutting weight. I mean,
well, he told us, he said, guys, I like to eat.
He likes to eat.
Different era back then, too, to cut weight. Wearing the trash bags, the heavy sweatpants.
Yep.
Giovanni McCoy, a handoff on 1st down. There's Anthony Woods strung out just in front of the 30-yard line.
But if you're Indiana, you gotta love how you responded.
Yeah.
You know, what a great learning lesson for these young football players. You know, 35 new players on this roster with the incoming freshman class and the transfer portal players to say, we are not good enough yet to overlook anybody. Idaho included, and they taught them that in the first half.
3rd down and 6. Idaho still battling here late in Bloomington. McCoy, here comes the blitz from Pierre, and McCoy hits his man downfield, and he's still going. Michael Graves down the sideline, touchdown. What a play by Giovanni McCoy to avoid the pressure from Noah Pierre and hit his man downfield.
And not only avoid, but stand in the pocket. Watch him stand in the pocket and watch Pierre come right down the pipe and hit him. And you'll see just some bad tackling right here, right? Just bad tackling. First it was Monster Matthews, then another missed tackle, and then Graves is off to the races. Touchdown.
71 yards. McCoy hooking up with Michael Graves. First touchdown of the season for Graves. And this look from Tom Allen says it all. His team really hasn't given up a big play since the first quarter.
No.
They gave up a 50-yard pass reception. And now McCoy and the Vandals going for it on 2. The swing pass doesn't work this time. They were looking for Graves again. The defense holds tough. Idaho continues to fight here in Indiana. They trail at 35-22. see how one of college football's iconic traditions was born. The big moment, the first wave, Monday, 7 Eastern on the Big Ten Network and the Fox Sports app. The hands team is out for Indiana. Onside kick. Flag comes up. Ball out of bounds. It'll be Indiana football. There's Michael Graves, the man to take the 70-yard touchdown pass to the house. Credit to Idaho, man. They were blitzed in the third quarter. Gave up 20+ unanswered points, but have continued to fight here late in the fourth.
Yeah, 2 touchdowns.
There are 2 fouls on the play. Offside, kicking team. That penalty is declined. Free kick out of bounds. Kicking team. By rule, the ball is placed 5 yards from the out of bounds spot. First down, Indiana.
There's Jason Eck, first-year head man for Idaho. Was the offensive coordinator under a very successful South Dakota State program, and played his college ball at Wisconsin as well.
Told us, I think Idaho can be a sleeping giant in the FCS, and he intends it to be during his tenure in Moscow. Shivers wiggles his way across the 35. And he is almost at 150 yards rushing in this game tonight.
Interesting story about Shivers. He's a guy obviously transferred from Auburn, but they recruited Shivers hard in high school. Battled with Auburn down to the wire. He ended up going to Auburn. But when stuff didn't work out at Auburn, it was almost like Tom Allen said, we already knew who he was. We vetted him. We don't want to take any transfer without knowing who the kid is, what kind of character does the guy have. It just really fit the Indiana model. And so when they had a chance to get Shivers in the portal, they jumped at it.
They go back to Shivers, and he twists out of 2 tackles and dives forward.
It's a good situation for Indiana to really work that, what they call the 4-minute drill. How to finish a game if you're on offense and you're leading by running the ball and getting first downs. You've proven you can throw the football. Tom Allen a little bit upset after that big play. Wants to see this offense finish strong.
Indiana letting the clock trickle down. Near 4 minutes left now in the fourth quarter. 3rd down and 2 for the Hoosiers. Back to Shivers. Has the first down. And he keeps the drive alive. Let's send it down to Shane.
Expanding on your point, Jay, the same can be said for Connor Bazelak at quarterback. They recruited him out of high school as well. And when he transferred from Missouri, he told us the big key there was Coach Allen spent the entire time on his visits, really showed him that he cared so much, and it was a great fit. So Bazelak ends up in Bloomington after all.
Well, both of you guys kind of alluding to this point that Tom Allen talked to us about. Bill Mallory, of course, the late great coach for Indiana, was a big mentor to Tom Allen and told him you have to find a staff that you can lose with. Somebody that's going to be in your corner when the going gets tough. He's applied that to his recruitment of the transfer portal, and it all comes down to finding kids that care as much as he does about this program.
I think it's important too to show to end well any recruit. If a recruit says, hey, no, I'm going to go to a different school, to keep that relationship, right? Don't burn a bridge, because you don't know when those guys are going to get back in the portal. In the past, it was more difficult to transfer 10, 20 years ago. Now, you never know if you're going to see those kids back in the portal in a year or two, and you want to have the relationship to come back to you.
Timeout taken. We will step aside for 30 seconds. Third and short for the Hoosiers. Less than 4 minutes to play in the fourth quarter. And a handoff up the middle, and just enough to keep the drive alive for Indiana.
27, Trent Howell on the carry.
Trent Howland on the carry, his first carry of the season. What a second half by Connor Bazelak. Looked totally out of sorts in the first half. Weather delay, tons of rain, just couldn't quite find his rhythm. Now 197 yards passing and 2 touchdowns. And in this half, Jay, 10 for 12, 148 yards.
Been so confident, been so sure, technique's been on point. Most important is accuracy, right?
Gives it back to Howland. And he scampers forward close to the 10 and another first down. Dave Repson, Jerry DiNardo, Howard Griffin, they recap the entire day of Big Ten football on the final drive, presented by Auto Owners Insurance, tonight after the game on Big Ten Network. What a day it has been in the Big Ten. Lots of activity across the country. Of course, a big storyline in Madison. Badgers go down to Washington State in a Pac-12 Big Ten battle. Big win for Ohio State, big win for Michigan, a team that this Indiana team will play in the coming weeks. As Bazelak falls on the botch snap, and that brings up third down.
Just little things you don't want to see in a 4-minute drill that you're trying to knock the clock down. Those things that drive coaches, keep them up at night. Snaps like that.
You're speaking from experience, coaching some 5th graders before the game today.
And let me tell you, center quarterback exchange for 5th graders is a little bit trickier than college juniors and seniors.
You don't say.
We have shotgun, we've got under center, but it can be difficult.
Indiana have scored all 35 points in this second half. Handoff goes to Jalen Lucas. Lucas shifting his way through the defense. He has a first down. Interesting story. Jalen Lucas, originally committed to Tulane, showed up at an off-campus camp down south that the Indiana coaches were hosting. They loved him. He loved them. Decommitted from Tulane. Now he's here in Bloomington. And they say he's the fastest player on the roster with a very bright future here in Bloomington.
They're going to find ways to get this guy the football. Too much speed to keep off of the field and the ball out of his hands. They've just got to find a way to get him the ball in space. And I think Walt Bell, before the middle of the year, figures that out sooner rather than later.
They go back to Lucas again. Jay, we have seen 2 totally different Indiana teams, first half, second half. What's your biggest takeaway from the game as a whole tonight for the Hoosiers?
Well, just how bad Indiana can play, number one, in the first half. Listen, if you don't finish field goals, if you have silly penalties, if you're not able to actually complete passes in bad weather, you're going to really struggle if you're in Indiana. On the other hand, you come out in the third quarter, you will beat anybody in the Big Ten, right? You're throwing the football on target. You got a guy with a big arm and some weapons on the outside with Matthews and Camper.
Interesting to see Indiana's resolve and resilience tonight, down 10-0 at the half to a very good FCS team in Idaho. Much better than the team they saw here last year. Connor Bazelak and Coach Tom Allen, they get it done with 35 points, all scored in the second half, and Indiana improves to 2-0 on the year.
Well, that's what they wanted to do, 2-0, got a 1-0 in the Big Ten, face Western Kentucky, and then wrap it up with Cincinnati in the non-con, and then into the conference slate.
Very manageable schedule upcoming. It'll be a fun one against Cincinnati, especially if Indiana can pull off the win next week against Western Kentucky. They'll be undefeated going to Cincinnati, a team that was a playoff team a year ago. And then perhaps you're 4-0 going into the Big East, the Big Ten East conference slate.
Well, and that's the team they said last year kind of started the spiral, right?
Yep.
That Cincinnati game, they were up in that game. Cincinnati came back on a special teams play and then got momentum. And what ended up happening was that was kind of the downfall of the football season for Indiana.
Connor Bazelak What a second half. He ends up with 197 yards passing and 2 touchdowns after a rough start for the Indiana offense. They were held scoreless in the first half and had less than 120 yards of offense. But they got it together in the second half, and you really have to credit him for his poise as we send it down to the sideline with Shane Sparks.
Coach Allen, I think a lot of us want to know what happened to the guys wearing the Indiana jerseys in the first half. Where'd you put those guys?
I don't know. I tell you what, very frustrating. You know, it was not how we have to play. Very disappointed. Obviously, we got some things to fix with that, getting our guys ready to play right away. But I was proud of how they responded. You know, we found a way to win. It was an ugly win for sure, but it was still a win.
What changed in the second half?
Well, we just started executing, didn't turn the ball over, got off the field on third downs defensively, and played the way we're supposed to play. So, but we saw them last week make a lot of plays against Washington State. We knew they had some talent. We knew they had a lot of good players, and Coach X doing a great job.
Congratulations on the win. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Appreciate that, Elio.
Thank you, Coach. Thank you, Shane. Thank you, Mr. Lehman. A fun night here in Bloomington.
Always a blast, Mr. Schumacher.
The Indiana Hoosiers get it done 35-22. For Jay Lehman and Shane Sparks, I'm Matt Schumacher. After the break, we'll send it out to Michigan, where the Wolverines lead Hawaii 49-10.